address, flagged down by an employee, Mr. Coulamay. He stated that two individuals were inside the bar, one of whom had been assaulted by a group of Asian males, possibly with a bat or a tire iron. He had attempted to escort the two individuals out of the bar when they began to physically assault him. They were assaulting Mr. Coulamay. He pointed out the individuals to the police officers as they were trying to flee. The officer Kamatis went to the one of the individuals who appeared, went to both individuals who appeared highly intoxicated. Both had slurred speech and were staggering when they walked. They observed one individual had a laceration to his head. They asked for Trinity Ambulance to respond. One of the individuals had stated that several other males entered the bar and assaulted his brother with a bat. At this point, a large crowd gathered around the two officers. They radioed for backup. And speaking with one of the individuals, he suddenly became hostile, began to yell and incite the crowd, began to push the crowd, push the officers. They tried to calm him down in an attempt for him to get medical attention. He continued. Ultimately, he was placed under arrest for disorderly conduct. While the officer was arresting him, the individual began to break free, at which point the second individual, his brother, became very excited, began yelling to the crowd, tried to interfere with the arrest. Several officers arrived on scene, placed both individuals into custody. One was, again, resisting and assaulting the police officers. Verbal commands were issued to the individuals. This one individual continued to struggle away, at which point Officer Johnson used OC spray, delivered a burst to the arrestee, as well as using force to effectuate the arrest of the two individuals. Those are the facts in a nutshell.
Okay? The facts in a nutshell. Tell us your version.
I enclosed the 2 pages of affidavit from each of the witnesses to the events who are present. There's no dispute on what the police saw, what they observed. However, there does seem to be a bit of a misconception as to what happened prior to their arrival. And I'd just like to attend to that, if I might. This was a Friday night. It was October the 13th. The restaurant itself was closed for a private party. It was a birthday party. And there were a number of individuals present in that gathering, and the place was essentially closed to the public. However, what was happening was, as people inside the restaurant would smoke, they would come outside to do that. So at about 10 minutes of 12, there were a number of individuals outside smoking. About 5 to 8 Asian males approached with an eye toward coming inside. The security staff, Mr. Coulamay, informed them that it was closed, that there was a private party inside, and they were to, they weren't going to get inside. What then happened was one of the individuals, a unidentified, unknown Spanish male, began to taunt these 5 to 8 individuals. The
5 or 8 that were there that were smoking.
No, the 5 to 8 were trying to get in, and they were told.
Okay.
They were told nothing doing.
Okay, who was taunting him?
There was one of the guys who was outside smoking, a Spanish guy.
Okay. So one of the people from the party.
Yep.
Okay.
He's outside. What happens is Mr. Coulamay tells that individual to go back inside. The 5 guys, 8 guys, they leave. And about 15 minutes later, 10 minutes if that, they come back in a group, much larger group than the 5 to 8. There's about 5 or 6 cars come back, and they approach the place with a definite sense of purpose. And as this is going on, of course, The same individual was outside having yet another smoke. He has a few things to say. Mr. Coulamane moves him immediately back inside, and they attempt to keep this group, which is now coming at the establishment, trying to keep them from getting near the place. At the same time, anybody that's inside smoking, Mr. Coulamane is moving them inside. And the point person trying to keep this other crowd from getting close to the place is Mr. Sock, immediately to my right. What then happens is one individual who's inside, this is creating a bit of curiosity among some of those who are inside. Mr. Sakun Chum works his way through the crowd and comes outside, and Mr. Coulamane is trying to get him back inside, but what happens is one of the guys who is attacking, for lack of a better word, he pulls a tire iron from inside his jacket and he strikes with that. Mr. Coulamane blocks that with his arm, upper arm and shoulder area. But as he does so, another guy, also with a tire iron, strikes another blow, which hits Mr. Chum on the forehead. He's bloody, and as that shot as that blow is striking Mr. Chum, this group, which had up until now been approaching the place, they fan out, they disappear, they scatter. So what you have is, outside the place, you have Mr. Coulamane and Mr. Chum. Mr. Chum is bloody, bleeding from the head. He's taken a serious blow to the head. None of those people who approached, none of them got inside the place. And that is consistent with all the individuals who were present. However, people who were inside, including Mr. Chum's brother, are not only curious about what's happened, but Mr. Chum's brother is hearing that his brother has just suffered a major blow to the head outside. He gets outside, and the only persons there are the security staff. He draws a mistaken conclusion that they had something to do with his injury. He then incites anyone that he can get after the security staff, believing that they had something to do with this injury.
These two guys.
These two guys here.
The only two security there? The only two?
Yeah. And so what happens is, while this is going on, of course, Mr. Coulamane has called the police, reporting in an effort to report what has just taken place. Also, when word travels to the bar, because they have communication devices, Ms. Thatch also makes a 911 call. She hangs up on her 911 call because somebody pulled the fire alarm, and she went to attend to that. At this point, people are now coming out of the establishment to see what's going on this outside. Some individuals are chasing Mr. Sock, and at the same time, Mr. Coulamane is doing his best to maintain order. When the police show up, the only people who are really out of control are the individuals who pretty much, the individual who caused this, Mr. Chum, Mr. Sarkon Chum with an M. His brother Sarkon was the individual who was struck. Police then attend to the two individuals, make some attempt to attend to the injured party who resists treatment, and the two brothers are placed under arrest. That is essentially where the police report takes over, and there's no dispute as to the events. However, there was some mistake in the position that these individuals, that anybody was struck inside. Nothing happened inside. There's no bat, it was a tire iron. I would also point out that the only disturbance that occurred with respect to the Choom brothers was when one of them was struck by a third party. One of them was struck and seriously injured. I would point out that there was really nothing that could have been done that wasn't done by the staff at the place. I would point out that every effort was made to protect the individuals, and I would also submit that the unforeseen acts of these third parties were such that the staff did a great job under the circumstances of keeping order. I would point out that since this event, the requests by the establishment for police details have been filled on a more regular basis. This is an establishment that seeks police assistance, seeks to work with the police department in any way possible. And I would point out that whether it's one officer or two officers, they're absolutely delighted to work with them and to have them on the premises. There is what all staff have identified as an issue with respect to people milling around on the sidewalk outside. Their authority to police the area really extends pretty much to the immediate vicinity inside and a little bit on the outside. But difficulties arise where people either who have been refused admission congregate, or people who are just hanging around are in the area. And it's the position of the establishment that the presence of a uniformed officer does go a long way to eliminating that as an issue. I would ask that, as far as a finding, I would ask that no finding be reached with respect to this. I recognize that there was a disorderly situation. I would also submit that everybody here had an opportunity at some point in the course of the night to observe both of the Choom brothers. They were observed prior to this episode to be steady on their feet. One of them had been out a couple of times smoking, and nobody was really out of control until the blow was struck, until one of them was struck on the head with a tire iron. If anything, that incited the other brother.
Tell me a little bit about, you said there was a party on a birthday party on the restaurant part of the facility. Now, the bar part of the facility, that's open to the public, so...
That's open to the public, but it was...
The crowd didn't try to go there, that came, they wanted to get into that party?
What happened was the bar was, at the time of these events, the bar was full. So nobody could get in even to go to the bar.
Okay. How many people in the party?
There was about 60 to 85. 65
And
to 80.
What
60
did
to
it
85.
entail? Did you have set out buffet and music, band? What kind of music?
Stand up, stand up.
It was karaoke? Yeah. And it was karaoke? Were any dancing going on? No.
However, usually later on,
Yeah.
because of that, was because of DJ.
It was a DJ coming in later on? Okay.
Not the DJ coming in, we had the music.
Okay. Now, is that how long did they have that party for? Were they supposed to have that?
Immediately after the incident.
Okay.
But the party was there until closing, though, I believe.
Okay, so they rent the hall? They rent the hall for the
Yeah.
night? Okay.
Yeah, but you got a public sign.
Yes.
Tell me about this, that it was a private party, but you got a sign here that tells, do you have a karaoke night every Thursday night?
Friday and Saturday.
Every Friday and Saturday?
Given the past incident of the establishment,
Yeah,
we have to be really strict in advising our owners.
Well, you're right, we told you that.
yeah.
We told you that.
We went above and beyond in terms of setting up security systems that, it does look ridiculous when you think about it. Karaoke having all these strict regulations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're better off.
Yeah. Well, you better,
You're better off overdoing it.
yeah. Are any of the police officers here that were involved? None of them? Okay, have you talked to any of them?
Have you seen the affidavits too? Give me-
We just got them.
Yeah, hang on. Let me,
You got them?
I think just listening to it and reading the arrest report, that the issue that we typically face in incidents like this is potential over-serving.
Yeah.
When the officer spoke to either the victim or the suspect at the time, or the victim at the time, he appeared to be, had been like somewhat drunk. And that's our concern, is if there wasn't over-serving that it was occurring, these incidents might not get that violent.
Yeah.
I just
What
also
happened-
Did you
point out,
transport the guy?
What's the kind of injuries do we know on this guy? Anything?
The one was a laceration to the face.
He didn't want treatment or something like that, or?
My guess is it would have been stitches. There's nothing in here, but the one who had the cut to his face was taken to the police station, was booked. So I'm assuming,
You had medical
stitches.
attention?
From Trinity Ambulance, there's nothing to indicate that, give me a minute. I don't believe, then he went from Trinity to
Did you have a
Lowell
policeman
General.
on duty that night?
No, no.
You did not have a policeman on duty?
no, there wasn't one that night. There was one requested, but there wasn't one on
You
the
understand,
premises.
they can't always fill them, so it's your responsibility, you know? And just you two guys were doing the bar and the party? Security?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, so you both, for the bar, which was full, and the party had about, what'd you say, 80, 60 people, 80 people in there?
Well, it wasn't supposedly, like, a big party, it was just a party of, like, eating,
Yeah,
ready for a birthday party. So he didn't really need more people that we didn't,
Yeah.
we thought it was just gonna be a
yeah.
little easier than it was, at any time.
You know, when alcohol's involved, it's never easy. It's never easy, you know what I mean? It starts off that way, and then it's never easy, so you gotta be overly cautious on the thing. You really have to go over the top on them, you know?
Just point out that just with reference to the two individuals that were placed under arrest, the person who had been whacked and the brother, I've spoken with all the, certainly with the two gentlemen at the door. Their English is not very good, in short. I don't know if, the events, to the extent that they were communicated by these individuals to the police, I don't think they were adequately conveyed. Certainly the location as to where he'd been struck was not properly conveyed. And I also understand that in any event, they've been charged, and I don't know what the offenses are that they've been charged with, but I know that the events leading up to this, I would submit, are not, although alcohol was on the premises, the people that inflicted the blow here that caused all the trouble, they weren't served on the premises.
Yeah,
And
I understand that.
Didn't that place have a security camera system? It did, it does. Does it?
Only towards the door, we have it straight to their face, when they come into the door.
Yeah, but didn't they have a system on both sides?
We're in the process of putting one outside, so,
No, it wasn't outside.
They had one on the floor, no, 'cause-
Prior owner, though.
what?
It's a prior owner.
Prior owner had one, yeah,
Had them outside?
we're getting one.
yeah.
We have 3 of them, 4 of them inside.
Okay.
Counsel, one of the items that comes up all the time, and you touched on it a little bit, and I don't think we went any further on it, but principally what gets clubs in here is they're failure to notify the police department when something happens. And I know your client called on the cell phone and then ended up having to hang up, but, there's an ongoing responsibility to make sure a call is made. And once that's done, a lot of these problems go away. So I don't know what type of further notice was given, but.
Sure, and I would just point out on that score, and I don't know if the police department is aware of this, but my client is at the risk of making herself an annoyance to the police department. She is in direct communication on a regular basis. I mean, she's in regular communication asking for the detail. She's in communication sometimes toward the end of the night. If there is a crowd outside the place, she does notify police on that issue. So, if anything, if there's a fault here, as far as notification, it would be.
We've always encouraged that.
Yeah.
I mean, we've encouraged it. Sure.
Yeah.
On that time when I was on the cell phone, the reason why I was hung up because I was in the middle of trying to block people from hitting me, and the cell phone did fall down and it hung up by itself, so I therefore picked it back up and called again, and therefore they called, even the police dispatch was calling myself back.
And you were the individual that blocked the shot? You need a tie iron to hit that guy, don't you? I mean, I understand. I understand. My kind of concern is, and I just want to, the petitioner came in here and we told her, there was a problem with that situation, with that premises, and the problem was that it was too much dancing, not enough food. So, I just want to kind of reiterate the indication you made to this board when we granted your license in terms of, the focus was being on the restaurant element of that. And is that still holding true today? Okay. All right.
And we also, got some more security now. So right now we have more securities hired for the night. Just,
Now-
and safety-wise.
Yeah.
And that's in addition to the details, and oftentimes the details have more than one officer.
I think you're right in terms of, always get the details down there because they're going to make sure that the people that are around outside aren't going to be, too prone to do something.
And we have been getting details from that point on.
Did we have to respond at all since then for anything? Have we had to
I
go
don't,
there?
I don't believe so.
You don't believe so?
So that's been
Okay.
a while.
All right.
In October 4th, they went through the holidays without a problem. Yeah, yeah.
You wanna do-
Put the matter on file for 6 months.
I'm looking at it, and the offense took place October 14th. You obviously made it through the holidays, which, I don't know, seems sometimes to be the worst time of the year.
Exactly.
Although I found out, when I came to Lowell and I sat on this board, the worst day of the year in Lowell is the night before Thanksgiving. That's it. It's like, I don't know, Gunsmoke City or whatever. Everybody comes home to drink, I guess, or something, but you made it through the holidays. I know you're calling the police. You gotta, we warned you about the place, because, you got some elderly living right across the street up there. Then, they haven't been calling, so, if they're watching the program,
we used to get a
hopefully
call
they're not. We used to
every
get
week on it.
tons of calls. I'm trying to take that into consideration, that, it seems that the folks living in the area have been relatively quiet about it, but they won't be for long if situations like this present itself, because, it's, you get these gangs of youngsters they're roving the street, and they're only roving the street for one reason. It's not out to, it's not out to have a good time. It's not out to be with their friends. It's out to, because they're looking for trouble. That's what they want. They want to have trouble. Okay, that being said, I think you're going to be ever vigilant of having somebody at the door, and you see those types of things happening, you have to call right away and say, there's a gang coming down the street, could you have the cruiser come by? The police would much rather drive by in the cruiser and, hit the siren and say, hey, let's get out of here. And it lets them know that they're there before anything starts to develop. I don't know, if somebody hit my brother in the head with a tire iron, I'd probably be upset myself. And I don't know whether he would act like he was drunk or not. He acts like he's drunk when he doesn't get hit in the head with a tire iron, so, so that being said, it's not making light of it, but that's a, very, very serious problem. And, God, we don't want to be picking somebody up off the sidewalk. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm going to make a motion that we place the letter on the complaint on file for 6 months. We're not going to take any action. We hope we don't see you back here. Okay, I would definitely get a camera. Those folks had camera, because they had an incident up there, and I remember we all went up there, didn't we? We all went up there to see their video system in the back room. And they had a camera on both sides, and they had a camera showing the people coming in and going out, see? And if you had a camera, you could have proved conclusively that they never came in your building. And that would have been a big step. okay? And we're all sitting here taking your word for it, and we know you're telling us the truth, and we know you're trying. So with that, I'll say we place the complaint on file for 6 months.
I'll second it, and because I just felt that the commitment that you made here when you got your license, I still think you want to honor that commitment. And the fact that we haven't heard from the neighborhood about that premise since you had it, and we used to hear about it once or twice a week, and it was horrific, you know? I mean, if you live in downtown, you're going to live next to a bar, but the bar owner has to have some responsibility. And I think you've done that at this point. I think that, you've got to maybe, if you're having these parties, you might want to get the number beforehand about how many you're expecting, so you're not surprised as you may have been, But I'll go along with the recommendation to place it on file for 6 months. I think it's still good for your commitment that you made to this board when you got that license. It's a valuable piece of paper that you have there, and I hope you're doing well in the establishment, but if it becomes such an area that it did last time, it's going to be nipped even well before that it was for the prior owner, so that's my feeling on it.
So is that a second?
I'll second it, yeah.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you,
Mr.
Counsel.
Chairman. Thank you, gentlemen.
Good job, Counsel.
Okay, what's this one about, Abe? What's this one about? Complaint against a package store. Restaurant.
Commission will now open a hearing on the allegation of misconduct as charged by Kenneth LaValle, Acting Superintendent of Police, against Joe and I, Inc., DBA R&M Liquors. Michael J. Rodriguez is the president, the all-alcoholic beverage packaged goods store licensee at 815 Lakeview Avenue. President is Joanne Rodriguez.
Hi. Would you introduce yourself for the record, please?
My name is Joanna Rodriguez, and my husband and I own R&M Liquors, and we have for 28 years.
Okay. I haven't got the complaint in front of me, Ryan. I'm sorry. Thank you. Do you want to have the complaint read into the record?
Yeah, excuse me?
Do you want them to read the complaint into the record? Have you read this
Have you read the
complaint,
letter?
ma'am?
Yes, I have. And
Do you want the officer to read it?
Yes, he may. Sure. He wants?
Summarize it.
He can summarize it,
Okay.
or he can read it line for line, whatever you'd like.
Whatever he wants to do is fine with me.
Okay.
Okay.
He can summarize it or whatever.
Summarize the complaint, Captain Demora, please.
Yes, on December 9th, at approximately 11:25, Detective Downs was in the area of Fisher and Lakeview Ave when she observed what appeared to be a young individual go into the R&M Liquors at 851 Lakeview Ave. Upon the person coming out, they approached him and found out that the person was 19 years old. They subsequently went into and spoke to a Mr. Jeffroy inside the establishment and advised him that he just sold to an underage person. And the officer's here to clarify any points. Right, there was no asking for any identification at all.
Okay. Do you dispute the
Yes, I
complaint?
do.
You do?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I'd like to read a statement from Mr. Jeffrey, because he was the clerk on hand. My husband and I were not there. I arrived 2 minutes after the police asked Mr. Jeffrey to call me.
Mr. Jeffroy, he's not here today?
He's not here?
No, he's not here.
Okay.
Where is he?
He's working. Well, he doesn't work for us full-time.
He what?
He was only working that night.
He's still working with you?
Yep.
Okay.
What do you have to say?
Okay, this is what he said. Dear sirs, my name is Raymond Jeffrey, and I is store clerk at R&M Liquors. The date was not the 29th. On 11/16/06, Matthew Champoy purchased 3 bottles of liquor from me. On this night, I was busy with a delivery when Mr. Matthew Champoy came in, and having seen his identification on 2 previous occasions, I did not ask him this night. Now, he has written that he spoke to Sergeant Trudell. I don't know whether that was who he spoke to or not, but
Yeah.
he said I told Sergeant Trudell that I had seen his identification on previous occasions. That is why I served him. This is a character reference on him. I have worked in the alcohol industry. Excuse me?
What did you just say?
I just said that he goes on and he says that I have worked in the alcohol industry for 30 years with DJ Reed and Company Incorporated, and also worked at R&M Liquors for 2 years, 14 years ago, all without incident. I'm a member of a 12-step recovery program for the past 9.5 years. I am also in formation to be a secular Franciscan, which has brought me to volunteer work in shelters in Lowell and Lawrence. Most recently, I have even fed and clothed the homeless who live along the river of this city. I have seen and heard the destruction that drugs and alcohol play in people's lives, which helps to remind me of my responsibilities as a clerk at R&M Liquors. I do not serve anyone intoxicated and/or has not proven they are of age, as Matthew Shampoo did on several occasions. Truly, Jeffrey's,
Can we have that, please?
yeah. How do I get?
Commissioner, I just want to clarify the date. The date was in fact November 29th, 2006.
Yeah.
You know what, could you do that?
Go back to the mic, ma'am.
Could you
Go
do it for
back
the
to the
microphone, please?
As I said, that when the police officers asked Mr. Jeffrey to call, it was my birthday, and I was on my way to the auditorium. So I arrived immediately. I spoke with 2 officers in Vice, and I will not say their names because they are undercover, and I asked him what was going on. The first officer that I spoke with, I asked him his name. He identified himself as another undercover who I was very familiar with, who had actually used our area to stake out drug business. I told him that I knew that name, and he was not that officer. He started laughing, and then he identified himself. Again, I will not say his name. I told him that it is our policy, my husband and I have been in business almost 29 years, to card every individual. If you came to our store, our neighborhood, our reputation precedes us, and that I card each time a person buys. I do work 2 nights a week, and that is our policy. Mr. Jeffrey is an impeccable character. Awesome, awesome gentleman. His reputation is, like I said, impeccable in the industry. He would not give liquor unless he was sure that the person had presented an ID in the past.
You made a mistake here.
Excuse me?
You made a mistake here.
Yeah, he did, and he feels bad, again, is that was not his intention to do that, nor do I believe that he did it callously.
I don't believe that either, but you did make a mistake.
Yeah, he did.
What did he sell to him? What was the liquor that he sold to him?
He sold Jägermeister, and he said that they have gin down there. That is not the truth either. It was,
Why would that not be the truth?
well, because he didn't sell gin.
But I mean, why would that be put down? If he
I don't
sold
know.
liquor-
Why would it be
Excuse
put
me,
down
let me
that it-
finish. Please let me finish.
I'm sorry.
If he sold them alcohol,
Mm-hmm.
what difference does it make?
It doesn't.
So why would they put down gin?
I don't know. Why would they put down November 29th, sir, when it was November 16th? Because it was my birthday.
Again, that doesn't matter, it happened.
So how can I say that everything else is true there?
Okay, but you don't dispute that it happened,
No, I don't.
okay, and you don't dispute that it happened on a date in November, is that correct?
Yep.
And you don't dispute that he didn't ask him for an identification,
Mm-hmm.
and that he has an obligation to ask him for an identification.
But he also told him that he had carded him in the past.
I understand that. Is that good enough for you, as the owner of a liquor store, that you had seen a previous ID?
Kind of goes against your policy, right?
It does go against my policy, but I do believe that Mr. Jeffrey felt very confident that this person was of age, or he would not have done it. Knowing him, okay, if it was someone else, I would say, well, okay, just issue whatever it is. This person, I would definitely, that's why I'm here, I definitely believe that Mr. Jeffroy felt that this person was of age and had presented his card several times.
You know what, this isn't about, from our standpoint anyway, Mr. Jeffroy's character. I'm sure he's a fine person,
He's an awesome person.
but your establishment ended up serving with the 2 other kids in the car, I believe.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes,
I have a
yes.
I have a 19-year-old son. Your establishment served a 19-year-old with alcohol that could have easily resulted in those 3 kids being killed, or somebody else being killed.
I understand
Me or
that.
you or
But that's what I'm
Mr.
saying, is that
Bayless.
we are very responsible. I have 2 children myself. And I mean, I've had people yell and scream at me because they say to me, well, you know, you just carded me, or I'm 33 years old, or I've carded a grandfather. And he comes in and says, oh, I'm a grandfather. And we say to them is that, you know, it doesn't make any difference. We do have a policy for carding. Yes, did he make a mistake? Yes, because he didn't card him then. We had just got a delivery, and he recognized this person because he had shown him the card before, and so he served him.
How long you been down there?
Excuse me?
How long you been down there?
Almost 29 years.
29 years, and you've been before the board in any violations before?
I believe it was 11 or 12 years ago, there was a sting,
Yeah,
and we got caught in the sting.
okay.
We
fine.
have not had any violation against us, and any time we totally respect and appreciate the police. We have a lot of good friends that are police officers. They do a lot of undercover work in our area. I am familiar with it. They come in and visit. Like I
Is
said,
this
I
your
work on
only
Friday nights.
establishment that you have?
This is the only one. My
Only
husband
one,
and I work it every
Were
day.
Were they part of the 12 that were in the paper? Do you
No,
know?
this happened 12 years ago.
No, part of, they just did 12
Oh,
the other night.
oh.
Were you one of the 12 that was just in the paper?
I asked Ryan, he said he wasn't at liberty to say anything about it, so I don't know. We didn't get
Oh,
in
you
any
would have
trouble.
known.
You would have known,
If you
yeah.
were,
No,
you
I mean,
would
I
have
don't know
known.
whether I was that 6th that didn't get in trouble.
No, if you were,
Oh.
you would have
So-
known.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sergeant or?
Captain,
No,
Cap, we got promoted here. Hey,
Yeah,
Captain.
Mr.
Whoa,
Lee,
easy.
anything else?
nothing else?
Any officers here on,
Yes.
okay. We'll hear from the officer.
Yeah, why don't, any of the police officers that was, could you just
Detective.
tell us your part of it?
We were actually in the area.
Let her get to
Oh,
the
I'm
mic, please.
sorry.
We were actually in the area for something else. We weren't watching that store in particular. We were just in that area, and we observed a car pull up. There was 4 individuals in that car. There was a female driver, female passenger, and 2 male passengers in the back. We observed the male passenger, who was later identified as Mr. Shampoo, exit the motor vehicle, go into the store, come out with a bag. All individuals in the car looked very young. They didn't look like they were 21 years old. We then approached the car after Mr. Shampoo came out. That's when we found out that he didn't even have an ID on him, and that the clerk never even asked for one. And that's when the clerk was brought outside and asked if he sold alcohol to Mr. Shampoo, and he stated yes, he did, and that was it, and we told him to call the owner.
Anything you'd like to ask her?
Okay.
Thank you.
I knew that it was not because they were there for liquor. They were
Yeah.
there, they were there for other business, which I am, you know, I think that's good. I want our
Yeah.
place safe.
What's your pleasure?
I'm going to make a motion that we suspend the license for 5 days and suspend 2 of those days so that there be 3 days served.
You want a second?
Nah, I'd like to probably suspend the license, but suspend it, because it hasn't been, they've been there for, what'd she say, 29 years? Last 12 years, there hasn't been any incidents, and
There was only 1 in 29 years.
yeah, I understand that, and probably suspend the license for a period of 3 days, but hold that in abeyance for 6 months, see if there's no more problems on the thing, and if there are, then you'd have to be back before us on it. Taking into account that it's been a long record in terms of, not serving underage drinkers, but the fact of the matter is that there wasn't an issue that should have been addressed in that terms of looking at the ID, so I'd make a substitute motion to suspend it for 3 days and hold it in abeyance for 6 months.
So we did a substitute motion?
Yeah.
Okay. Eddie?
No, I have nothing further.
Oh, okay. All right. 29 years is a long time to be. What bothers me here is this, you just, this guy might be, you're just constantly defending this guy over it. I mean, he's still working for you, I just can't even fathom in this day and age. I have such a hard time trying to understand that you would have somebody employ for you. I don't care what was happening. I mean, your whole livelihood lies on that ID. Everything you've worked for,
I know.
on that one ID. And that one guy goes in there, and we have sat here at these meetings and said to people before, you let one person get through that door with a false ID, and every kid at Lowell High will know it Monday morning. Everybody. And you know what? It's like throwing a rock in the lake. You can't stop the ripples. Because everybody's going to know Raymond Jeffroy sold to a minor. And Raymond didn't even ask me. This guy didn't even ask me for my ID. You just got to walk in, and this is what I did, and they get it down pat. And everything you've worked for is down the tubes. Everything. Everything you've worked for is down the tubes. And you haven't even, you're standing there saying, well, he didn't sell him this, or he didn't sell him that, or I don't care what he sold him. He sold him an alcoholic beverage. The kid was a minor. There were 4 kids in the car. They could have wrapped themselves around a telephone pole. There would have been 4 families devastated for the rest of their lives. Everybody would have been out there. They would have been saying, oh, the police should have done a better job. The Alcoholic Commission should have done a better job. Everybody should have done a better job except for me, who owned the store, who shouldn't have sold it, and for me, who was the parent, who should have made sure my kid knew that if he ever got caught putting somebody to earn a living in that position, he probably would have a tough time sitting down for a while.
I agree. Is that no one knows it better than my husband and I.
And if I had an employee that jeopardized me to that point, I'd probably say to him, I'll see you in a month. Think about what you did.
He has thought about it.
Think about what you did. You jeopardized everything that my husband and I have worked for. So I'm going to take a compromise here. 2 days, a Friday and a Saturday closed. And the rest of the suspension can sit on for 6 months. And if you get caught in one of and I'll tell you right now, there's a new broom in town.
I know.
There's a new broom in town. They're going to get out there and start looking. Because there's far too many people we're reading about in the paper. Young kids that think, this is not going to happen to me. This is going to be somebody else's obit page, somebody else's kid, but that's not going to happen to me. But it does happen. And unfortunately, the person that dies is gone. But the family and the people that it affects have to live with it for the rest of their lives. So I'm going to make a compromise. I don't know if one would be willing to second it. 2 days suspension, a Friday and Saturday, and the rest of the time, the rest of the suspension put on file. So now we got to come to a compromise of some kind.
I'll second it.
You'll second it, okay? I've got a motion made and seconded for 2 days.
For Friday and Saturday?
A Friday and Saturday. Those are your days. Those are the best days. Give you a weekend. A motion made and seconded. All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Yes. No?
No.
No. Thank you.
Chairman, I might understand then that
She
the...
has the right to appeal.
Correct, but just for the purposes of the action of the License Commission, suspension for 2 days, a Friday and Saturday,
Yep.
that's it?
And suspend the other 5 days that.
Okay, so so your motion is to
For
suspend
7-day suspensions.
5 days,
five
suspend
suspended,
3 of the 5 days,
serve 2.
and the licensee is to be closed 2 days,
2 days.
a Friday and a Saturday.
Right.
A Friday and the following Saturday.
Right.
Okay,
Yes. Yes.
so that will mean possibly putting that into effect in about 2 weeks' time?
Yeah, you'll have the right to appeal our decision. You'll get a notice from the secretary of the decision. Boston. The Alcoholic Beverage Commission in Boston, right?
Yes. Now, if you, just for the sake of, just for discussion, generally, the License Commission will not stay a decision unless you request it in writing, and you would have to consider the stay pending your appeal. For the fact is that you have to, by virtue of appealing a decision of the License Commission, as it just, the decision they just made, doesn't automatically give you a stay of that suspension. In other words, you would still have to serve the 2 days closing unless the License Commission was to consider a written request for such a stay, meaning to say, hold up on the suspension till I have my chance to be heard in Boston.
Yep. Excuse me.
Should I proceed with?
Yeah, you have the right to appeal it, ma'am. If you decided that you wanted to appeal the decision, notify the secretary in writing that, for us to stay the decision, and we'll stay the decision. You'll
We'll
receive.
decide on it.
Huh?
We'll decide on
Yeah,
staying in the city.
we'll bring it in here and decide it. Okay?
Just on back to the Friday and Saturday, is that what I'm doing, or, I don't understand.
Can't give advice.
Okay.
You'll get a letter from the...
You'll get a letter
You'll
from
get a letter.
Ryan. Okay?
Backfire.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
True, sorry about that.
That's all right.
Okay. Next.
Commission will now open the hearing on the allegation of misconduct as charged by Kenneth Lavalley, Acting Superintendent of Police, against the Blue Shamrock, Inc., Nicholas C. Petrakis, Manager, the all-alcoholic beverage restaurant licensee at 105 Market Street.
Introduce yourself for the record, please.
Nick Petrakis, manager of the Blue Shamrock.
Okay, Nick, have you read the complaint,
Yeah.
the letter?
I have. Before I start, can I just show you guys a diagram of where everybody was, because it's kind of important?
I'm sorry,
Sure.
what?
Can I just give you guys a diagram of this?
Yeah.
It's just where everybody was standing.
Okay, that's all right.
Did you have an
Looks
architect
like-
do this, Nick?
Looked like Benjamin drew this.
I tried to get someone with more skills to do it for me, but
Do you want the letter read into?
no,
record?
that's okay.
Okay. Sergeant Demore, do you want to give a brief overlay so folks can understand, okay?
Essentially, this is summarizing from a letter to the Commissioner from Acting Superintendent Ken LaValley. On December 9th, Officer Christian Hansen was assigned to a detail at the Blue Shamrock. At that point, he was approached by a patron who told him that an individual on the dance floor might be in possession of a handgun. He then went to see this person, track that individual down. Officer Hanson called for assistance. Several marked cruisers and unmarked cruisers responded. The individual was pointed out, the potential suspect was pointed out. He was later identified as an individual who was trying to walk to the rear of the establishment in an attempt to avoid the officers. The officers caught up to him, attempted to pat frisk him for weapons. At that point, the individual became increasingly agitated and belligerent. He was slurring his speech and appeared to be intoxicated. He called the officers tough guys. The individual was arrested for disorderly conduct. That would be the facts in a nutshell.
Okay. That's the fact in a nutshell. All right, tell us your side of the story, please.
First, I want to start off, no one has more respect for the police than me, and the detail officer that night. But I do find some discrepancies, which I think are important in the report. First of all, the report itself states that when the kid came up to the detail officer, he never said, I saw a gun. He said that he made a gesture, which is right in the report, to his waistband, which I'm not really sure what that means. He made a gesture to his waistband. Now, not the detail officer didn't see this. The kid told the detail officer that. So that caused him to believe, he made a gesture to his waistband. Anyways, at that point, the detail officer called backup, whether he did this, electronically, or whether, I know there were a lot of cops in the area that night towing cars in the area, but three plainclothes officers in one uniform came in. The kid didn't run away from the cop. He was on the dance floor dancing when they got him. So obviously, it makes it seem like the kid tried to scurry through the crowd, but they took him off the dance floor. They brought him to the kitchen, which the kid the whole time was saying, what's this for? What's going on? How come you take me, whatever? Shut up, blah, 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 get in the thing. They frisk him down. They don't find anything. Now, this happens in the kitchen. In the report, too, it says there was a big commotion on the dance floor. The whole reason why I submitted the diagram was there's no way anything could happen on the dance floor without the bartender seeing it, the DJ seeing it, the doorman seeing it. They're surrounded. The lights never went on. We didn't have to stop the music. Nobody gathered around. So the part about their commotion, I didn't hear it like that because it happened. The whole thing happened in the kitchen. That's where they searched him. After searching him, they tell the kid, all right, go ahead, you can go. Then when the kid goes to leave, he says, yeah, you tough guys didn't find this, and makes a derogatory gesture to his crotch area, grabbing it, whatever. So then the cop goes, you want to be a wise guy? Lock him up. Hey, I'm all for that. I can't believe the disrespect people have, now for police officers. And like I said, I'm all for that, but if the kid was intoxicated, they already told him, go ahead, you can go, because then the kid starts becoming apologetic and saying, I'm really sorry, I really apologize, I just live down the street. I'm not really sure where he lives, but he goes, I just live down, I live right down the street. Let me go, I'm sorry, his whole attitude changed. Police officer tells him, you know what, you can think about it, it's a Friday, you can, spend a weekend in jail and think about it. Hey, I'm glad they told the kid that from a personal point of view. But that's something his parents should teach him or something. I don't see why that reflects on me at all. And in the report it says that the kid they thought had a gun, first of all, they never find anything. Second of all, it says the other kid says that he saw him pass something to somebody. Well, now he's embarrassed because he never saw anything. The kid made a gesture to his waistband, which is in there, and he can't identify at all who the second who the second person is. And the only reason I brought these people here was, one, because one was an eyewitness. Tony was in charge of my security. Brian and Jody were working the bar, and they said they saw the police. Well, Brian says he saw them go into the kitchen and saw them come out. Jody says she just saw them come out, but if there was a disturbance, they would have seen it. And I was going to bring all the doormen and stuff, but a lot of them have day jobs and stuff, and I didn't know to what extent, they would have taken a day off on me. Yeah. But I didn't want to flood the place, and I didn't know, make it look bigger or smaller than it is. But one reason I'm concerned about it is because by the nature of the business, I've been in here before and, whatever, and I don't want a preconceived notion either within the police department or in the community that something is going on because, God forbid, suppose I do have to appear in here, they'll be like, well, Nick was just in here. This is we just saw him 2 times or something, whatever. And, thank God the paper's not here because if something good happens, you don't hear anything about it or anything at all for all the charity things. One bad thing happens, and it perpetuates sometimes a preconceived notion that older people have, you know what I mean, in the community. So that's why I brought them. Tony was there the whole time, and like I said, the detail officer did what he had to do, calling the backup, and I'm the first one to commend him on it, but there are a couple things in there, like we didn't have to chase the guy through the crowd. We pulled him off the dance floor. We didn't arrest him in the crowded area. We arrested him in the kitchen. We were going to let him go, but the kid was a wise guy. So those things to me are important. They seem minor, Well, I'm sure that, you know, you guys can
Yeah.
see where I'm coming from, you know?
Yeah.
Did they go back to this, were either of these police officers involved in that? Were they?
Yeah,
Can you
just
just
one
get, identify yourself for the record, please?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, my name's Officer Chris Hansen. I was the detail officer on scene that night.
You were the detail officer? You were
Yes, at
on
the
private
police
detail?
yard. Yes.
Okay. Now, did you go back to this guy that approached you and said this, by any chance? The person came up to you and said,
What had happened was, I was standing at the front door at the entrance where the detail officer normally stands. This individual came up to me and said that he just exchanged words with another individual, had bumped into him on the dance floor and exchanged words with him. He said that time the individual reached behind his back, gestured as if he had a gun. He didn't see a gun, but he gestured as if he had a gun, and then quickly passed off an object which the patron that wished to remain anonymous said that he saw an object that he thought, you know, might be a gun. Basically, you know, he said that to me. There are many security guys in this establishment. My first reaction was just, you know, there's a possibility someone might have a handgun on the dance floor. I stepped out. I made a call for a unit to assist me, and within seconds, you know, every unit in downtown was there. We walked towards the end of the rear of the dance floor, which isn't that big, but the individual, the patron, was there. We asked him, "Where's the individual?" He pointed to him. He had given us a prior description of who this guy was anyway, and it appeared to me that the guy was trying to he was obviously trying not to be seen by the police. We apprehended him. We brought him into the rear of the establishment, the back door, which is the restaurant area. And at that point, you know, he was, you know, tough guys and, you know, belligerent and calling the police officers tough guys on scene. We then placed him under arrest and took him out where he was transported to the police station. I mean, there was no other incident there. I've never had any problems there.
Yeah. Now,
But it was
before you arrived, there wasn't any disturbance in terms of him disorderly or anything like that? It was just
No,
in
not that
reaction
I
to
could see.
you talking to him, he became disorderly? Is that?
There was a person that had come up to me that said there's a possibility, you know, basically that,
Yeah.
for me, there's a possibility that someone might be
Yeah.
on the dance floor with a handgun.
Yeah.
You know, I did the first thing that came to my mind is call
Yeah.
for another officer, you know.
All right.
did you go back out and see the guy that came up and said that to you?
I spoke to him throughout the night, one other point, and he said he didn't want anything to do with it, but like I said, he said that he had seen something and, you know, and I had a duty to act.
Yeah. What time of night this happened?
I believe it was right after midnight, or right around midnight.
Okay. Thank
The
you.
guy didn't swing at you, and he got upset when you tried to search him.
Right, he obviously didn't want to be searched, but, and I mean, no handgun was
And
found.
the reason you arrested him because of the gesture he made. I said the reason you were going to let him go, but you arrested him because he
Right, I
gave
mean,
you-
I
his
think,
actions, I mean, he was-
Commissioner, I believe that was an arrest. I would defer that to whatever happened in the court procedures.
Sorry?
I think the officer did admit that, in fact, there was a confrontation, an incident took place after they confronted him. I believe he was arrested, and I would have to defer to what happened in court to that.
Today.
That part, I'm not sure what happened in court. I wasn't involved in the proceedings there.
Okay.
Attorney Licky, what's the position of the police department in terms of where the actual violation is?
According to the notice that was given to Mr. Petrakis, that's how your last name
Correct.
is pronounced? That the allegation was a violation of 204 CMR, Alcoholic Beverage Control Commission, Regulation 2.05, permitting any disorder, disturbance, illegality of any kind. I believe, and then reading in the letter that was sent December 11, 2006, it was the disorderly conduct, which based on what I'm hearing was after the police approached the individual, then he became belligerent and has ended up arrested for disorderly. Based on the documents that were presented, that appears to be from the documents the nature of the allegation of violation.
Right. And it sounds like the decision to make an arrest on disorderly was kind of an immediate decision of the police department. standpoint. Is that correct or not? Or
It appears that based on, right, it would appear to be based on, looking into the possibility of whether or not there was a weapon.
Yeah.
One individual's attitude changed, and right, it was based on a flowing set of circumstances that was immediately present to the officer.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Ready for a motion?
Yeah.
I don't see any violation on the establishment's behalf. I understand the actions of the police department. They certainly were justified. They certainly did the right thing in terms of acting upon this individual who they thought might have had a weapon, but in terms of the establishment having any prior notice of it, being able to take any action to prevent it, I just don't see that as reaching that level. I'd make a motion that we take no further action on this.
I'll second it, and like I said, like to reiterate, I don't think anyone did anything wrong here. I think the police acted in an appropriate manner, obviously. I don't think the bar owner did anything incorrect as well. It just, the disorderly happened as a result of his reaction to the police. It wasn't as a result of something was going on in the bar, and then there was a call, and then normally you have a disorderly after the call, the police shows up, it's a charge that because of the nature of everything and the emotions that are involved, that's put on. But there wasn't that initial, any infraction before the police involvement here. And again, the police acted in the appropriate manner, and obviously you have to. So I think it just didn't rise to the amount of a complaint, and I think I'll second the motion, take no action.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Thanks. I just want to say, too, that no one's happier than me when I see these guys show up for the detail. And this officer right here is the best. It takes, you know what I mean? Took all the pressure off of us, so I appreciate
You just say that because he's got a gun. Don't kid yourself.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, just as a follow-up to new communications from the Acting Superintendent of Police, Kenneth LaValle, regarding allegations, Tyler Perry Corp., the Dubliner, 197 Market Street, Kamara Restaurant at 308 Westford Street, and Palin Restaurant at 6-8 Branch Street. Also, request by Acting Superintendent LaValle to take up the matter once again of Captain Johns on that complaint regarding an incident of December the 6th, 2006. You have copies of the communications, and it's a matter of how you wish to proceed with the
Okay.
hearings.
Send him a letter, get him in.
Okay, but how do you want to schedule it? Do you want to schedule it for the next meeting, which is January?
Can you make the next meeting, Commissioner?
January 25th is the next schedule.
As far as I know, yeah.
Okay. Because I'm going to have to sit out on the Dubliner. I can't. So you can be able to make the next one?
Be here with bells on.
Oh, wonderful.
So all of these would be scheduled for January 25th?
So get him the 25th.
Okay. Also, Mr. Chairman, there are 2 applications for new license. Legal notices are to be published in tomorrow morning's newspaper, Lowell Sun. Both are for beer and wine restaurants. In fact, Devon Nocum and Fenn are doing business as Fenn's Kitchen at 586 Westwood Street. They had applied for a beer and wine license probably about a year and a half ago, which license had been granted. They never actually exercised the right to the license, and now they're back again for a second shot at it. And also Matthew Mason of All of That and More for beer and wine for 167 Market Street for a restaurant. He had the beer and wine package store license. He chose not to renew that, and it was not renewed for 2007. So that will be a legal notice.
He's going to come in with something else, right? He's going to come in with something else.
A beer and wine restaurant now.
Okay.
That's what he has filed now. I'll get you copies of the application.
Okay.
Also, just 2 matters. Liquor license that had been granted for renewal for the downstairs cafe, which is located at 160 Merrimack Street. Communication from Ellen Monahan came to the office December 28th. I didn't make copies of it, but essentially what she's saying is that the building itself is set up, is structured with different owners. There's like condos.
Yeah.
And the downstairs cafe is in the basement, has been in the basement for a number of years. She was looking to negotiate to sell the business to the new property owner, but apparently that matter has failed to come to fruition, so she's opted not to take the license, and as far as I know, the business is closed as of December 31st.
Okay.
Okay.
So you may proceed to cancel that license effective today, if you wish.
Why don't we do that?
Well,
She's indicated as such that she's not, there's been no request for transfer of license, and I have not issued that license.
fine, yeah,
Okay.
She's
Is there a
basically,
motion?
yeah.
Motion to rescind the license?
Yeah,
just to cancel outright.
Second.
Cancel license.
Yeah.
All in favor, say yes.
yes.
Okay.
The other is to do with a business at Kearney Square. John Robles has opted not to take the all-alcoholic restaurant license. He called just before the end of the calendar year 2006. He said he wants a beer license. Well, it's not as simple as that. This license that he's opted not to take is for all alcoholic beverages. I may want to point out to Captain Demora that the licensee is without a liquor license. I noticed that the business has signage that like Budweiser, but there is no license to sell or serve. It's up to him to whether he wants to apply for another type of license.
Which business is this now?
This is the Bread House.
But the old ML Shaw's.
We're sure.
Yeah, it used to be
right there.
Brigham's.
Right on the corner.
So I'll communicate to him that you could give him a hearing to hear what he has to say for January 25th.
25th.
But in the meantime, he shouldn't be serving.
Okay.
Okay. That's it.
That's it.
Second?
Motion to adjourn. Seconded. All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Coming home, Benjamin.